Trials of Podcast. I'm Preya.
And I'm Melanie.
The New Trials of Captor Sakura, Syaoran and Friends is a popular ongoing fanfic by Wishluv, and it's based off of Clamp's Captor Sakura. And in each episode, we'll do a deep dive of a new chapter. Let's get into it. So before we start, my question to you is, have you ever participated in a scavenger hunt?
I was going to ask you the same thing, but obstacle course. Scavenger hunt. No, I don't think I ever have. And then along the same question, like even an obstacle course, I don't think I've ever done an obstacle course. Now, my friend Megan, she's done like in the past, have you ever heard of Tough Mudder?
No.
So it's like a really big obstacle course, and like you have to climb over walls, you have to run through like an electric fence, you get like plowed with water. It's like crazy. So I know she's done that, and she asked me to do it with her, and I was like, no thank you. And it was right before my wedding, basically. Like, she did it right like a week before my wedding, and so I was threatening her because she's my maid of honor, and I was like, if you get hurt, I am going to be so upset with you. She didn't, and everything was great, but no, I don't think I've ever really participated in anything besides, escape rooms. I guess is kind of the closest thing I can think of that'd be like a scavenger hunt, but yeah I'm the unathletic queen over here. How about you?
Well, obstacle courses, I was telling a story in the last podcast where someone was cheering, my team leader was cheering me on, and that's when I realized that, words of affirmation is doing something for me without realizing that there were words of affirmation. So I was in the middle of an obstacle course during field day at school. But I've done a couple of scavenger hunts for bachelorette parties. So basically it's like find this, find that. You just go in the neighborhood with like some groups and see who gets their list checked off like the fastest. So I did that in 2010 for my bachelorette party, and then we did that again for my friend Miriam's bachelorette party. And I don't remember much, but I think on her list was like dance to music. And then there was this restaurant that was playing like, I think Latin music or something. So she was just dancing for us. It was super cute. But no, so there's this company called Clued Up. And they basically, anywhere in the world, they probably have these events. There's lots of them in Canada. There's lots of them in the United States. I never really looked outside of it. But I did their Alice in Wonderland one, and it was so much fun because everything is on your phone, and they just tell you where to go, and everything's in the same area. Just like, I don't know, an hour and a half the most to go from place to place to place, and you end up where you started. And the fun part is that so many people were in costumes. So for the Alice in Wonderland themed, I dressed up as Alice, and my boyfriend was the Mad Hatter, and I had our friend, he bought bunny ears, so he was the White Rabbit, and there were so many costumes, and Alice in Wonderland is so rich with options, because people were dressed up as Disney characters, people were dressed up as Tim Burton characters, and it could be as simple as people in white t-shirts just like pretending to be like the cards, so they just put like the ace and spades and stuff like that. And then I saw one person who was in Johnny Depp's Mad Hatter costume, along with like the thread belt. It's like and makeup, and I don't even know how, because it was so hot that day. And this one girl, she was like in this like wedding dress because she was the White Queen.
Wow.
And yeah, there was another girl in a purple dress. She was a Cheshire Cat. It was like Comic-Con, but without the COVID, because everything was out in the open.
Yeah. When you sent me pictures, I was just like floored. I was like, that is so cool, because I introduced Preya to Disney bounding like forever ago, and so to see them like all dressed up as Alice characters, I was just beside myself in joy. Like, they did such a good, you'll have to post the picture and show everyone. It's so cute.
Yeah, we'll throw them up on Instagram. Today we'll be discussing the second part of chapter 35, It Must Rain First. Day 2 presented the scavenger hunt where couples needed to find the music box. Tomoyo and Wolfie Chan joined Sakura and Syaoran. Meanwhile, Chiharu got angry with Takashi for not taking the search seriously and was stunned when he argued back for the first time. Chiharu walked away, and after Takashi kicked a shrug, he found the box. Sakura and Syaoran found their box in a tree when it started to rain. They heard Chiharu scream and sent a frantic Takashi to shelter to wait for her. Sakura found Chiharu and learned that there was a force roaming about, targeting Chiharu. Back at the cabin, she found Takashi went out looking for her. Erika and Aki stole Takashi's music box. Sakura, Syaoran, and Chiharu went looking for Takashi, and when they found him on the ground, Chiharu cried out her apologies and her love for him. Takashi was playing dead, to Chiharu's fury, but he was touched with the way Chiharu cared for him, and told her that he loved her. When he got up, Sakura saw that the beast really hurt Takashi, and he lied so Chiharu wouldn't worry. Sakura and Syaoran faced the wolf, and to Sakura's horror, he was Wolfie-chan, so she refused to attack him. Syaoran defeated the force in its werewolf form, and all that remained was Sakura's tattered embroidery. Sakura was furious with Syaoran since she wanted to wait until dawn, when he was back into Wolfie-chan. Later on, when Sakura went to place her music box in Takashi's bag, she found Syaoran, who used his energy to convert the dark forces into light, and she was touched. Sakura and Syaoran used Wolfie-chan, who Sakura now named Eagle-chan, to find the last box, which was on the cabin. Sakura saw a double rainbow, and the boat arrived to take everyone off the island. Now, we pick up at the 1 hour, 2 minutes, and 37-second mark in the audiobook chapter, which is the next day of the competition. We start out on the yacht. So we start on a yacht as the 10 couples make their way to the 4th event of the contest, which is the scavenger hunt. And I always think the scavenger hunt is the last event because it's so dramatic, but no, there's a questionnaire that's going to follow. Mm-hmm. The goal was to find one of the 5 music boxes before 4 p.m. when they would be picked up again. And I think it was really funny that Tomoyo got to tag along too.
Well, that and like they just let Sakura bring a dog.
Oh, he's so cute. I think they just succumbed to his charm.
I swear, like Tomeo is probably just like, my mom okayed it, so the dog can be here.
It's like, yes, Mistress Daijuji. Yeah. She's basically their boss. Chiharu and Takashi get a scene together, and Chiharu was very annoyed with the way that he wasn't taking the contest seriously. Now, she stomped away, and for the first time, Takashi talked back, and that surprised her. And, of course, they would find the music box. He finds the music box as soon as they go their separate ways.
Mm-hmm. I'm kind of proud of him that, I mean, it's never great when couples do fight, but kind of like how we talked about a couple episodes ago, it's kind of like the turning point for your relationship when you can figure out how to argue effectively. And I'm really proud that he kind of stood up for himself, sort of, and didn't just let her just throttle him like she normally does. I think it shows character growth, and, I like it. Yeah. How do you feel about it? Because I know you like them all like cutesy.
I like them all cutesy, but girl, it's like if a couple wants a spotlight, there needs to be conflict. Otherwise, they're just going to be in the background being cutesy. And this is Takashi and Chiharu's really like the pinnacle of them in New Trials. So I'm just soaking everything up.
Yeah.
SNS were also having trouble, but they found a music box up in the oak tree. But that's when they noticed that the sky was cloudy and a storm was coming. They were going to the pickup spots, but a scream made Sakura run after the sound. And of course, leave it to Sakura, just running to danger. Totally tracks.
Just, just like, oh, there's just a random scream in the woods, sure.
The two storylines merge as Takashi and Sakura bump into each other, and Sakura takes over the job of looking for Chiharu. And I really do love Sakura's leadership skills in this scenario when she was ordering everyone to do their respective jobs. And just like such a card mistress.
Yes, yes. I love seeing her be a leader. I absolutely love that.
Now, speaking of which, Tomoyo warned Sakura that she couldn't use magic due to all the hidden cameras. And I'm glad Wish-chan put that in because I completely forgot about the hidden cameras already.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, it was good. Yeah, because I forgot too.
Sakura and Chiharu find each other, and Chiharu warns Sakura that there's a beast in the mountains. Now, there's an interesting line where Sakura thinks that the dark force targeted Chiharu, and that could be the reason why she and Takashi were fighting so much.
Yes, I was going to bring this up with you too. I have a theory, but I want to hear yours first.
See, my theory is like, it's hard to say because everyone reaches their breaking point, and that's where Takashi met his. So I was like, that was a real head scratcher for me, which is why I'm bringing it up, because I want to know what you think.
So, I think this could be, you know how like cards can kind of double up together? So I think this was the emotion, the argument, helping out the wolf.
Oh.
Because the argument, if you remember, was brought up like fleetingly in arc 1 as like, you know, and so now this could be the argument, and then I think it'll finally make its debut when Wish-chan updates, because we think that's what's affecting Kai and Malin right now. So I think this was the first appearance of the argument.
I like that theory. And it makes sense because, like, you know, Takashi is such a mellow guy. It really doesn't take much to rustle his feathers. And even though everyone snaps at one point or another, like the way he handled it shocked Chiharu. And I think if he had all of his capacities, he probably would have chosen another way to get around it.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I this is the first time I've ever caught on to that in all of my rereads. And you know, I've read this chapter so many times because it's one of my favorites. Because it's one of my favorite chapters. And so, but yeah, this is the first time I've ever caught that before. And I was like, oh, I was so excited.
We need to ask Wish-chan this.
And she'll answer. We'll see. But yeah, we could definitely put it on our Q&A because I am so curious.
I like where you're going with this, and I'm very curious to see what Wish-chan will say. And the thing is, though, whether it is, whether it isn't, it could be.
True. Yeah, she might be kind of like, I don't know, can't really answer.
Everyone was in the log cabin, and now Takashi is the one who's missing. I think it's a bummer that there was no supervisor, and that was very irresponsible of the contest organizers.
I know, yeah. It's like, how can you... That's like such a big liability. But again, we know why. Plot device, we're here for it.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny that only then they realize that Erika and Aki are missing.
Right.
It's like the two most obnoxious people. It's like, you know, this is really lovely here. I wonder why.
Everyone like, man, it's so quiet and everyone's getting along so great. There's no negative energy. Wonder what's different. Oh.
Landlines and cell phones weren't working, and that's pretty freaky. I'm glad Sakura was there to keep everyone calm. She then tells a story about the test of courage that they had to do in the 4th grade that we saw in Clamp, and that was a really nice icebreaker for the group.
And a nice little callback to the OG.
Yeah. No, because it's like, so it's 20 people, they don't really know each other, and now they have to like share the space for who knows how long. So I think that was really nice of Sakura to get them talking. Syaoran tells Sakura that maybe they'll be there all night, and Sakura volunteers to find Takashi, Erika, and Aki. Syaoran says he'll go, and unfortunately that's when they lose power, which really sucks. They had to make do with candles, but Sakura still goes out in the storm, even though if it was me, I would totally let Syaoran go in my place.
Yeah, me too.
Now, we're finally with Aki and Erika, and the only reason why they're still out there is because Erika bullied Aki to keep looking for the music box, which is so mean.
Well, you know, rich boy, he's probably like, my Nikes are getting muddy. This is the hardest I've worked in my whole life. Like, I just want to go. I'm wet. I'm cold. I just want to go inside. And here, Erika, who was a scrappy orphan at one point, was like, "No, we are working and we are finding this music box, rich boy."
Now, they ended up stealing Takashi's music box from his bag, which is a really low blow. It was nice to see Aki put up some kind of protest, but it's not like if that changed anything.
Yeah, he very much let Erika bulldoze him. But yeah, it was nice to kind of see that, you know, Aki's not just a villain, you know, type of thing.
Yeah, even he has a sort of line.
Right.
Sakura finds them, and Aki's gratefulness was a lot of fun to listen to in the audiobook.
Thank you.
She directs them to the cabin and continues her search for Takashi. Now, Sakura feels like she's being followed, and surprisingly enough, both Syaoran and Chiharu popped up. And I agree with Syaoran. It's too dangerous for Sakura to do this alone.
Right. Yeah. Well, and especially because, you know, it's literally lightning out.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and it's not safe.
Yeah, and not to mention the sighting of the werewolf. So finally they find Takashi on the ground, which was very scary, especially since he was covered in blood of all things. We get a heartfelt apology and even a genuine love confession from Chiharu, which was beautiful. Takashi woke up and said it was just a ruse to throw off the beast. Now this is when Chiharu was really annoyed, but Takashi apologized to her, which I loved, and it was a long time coming.
Yes.
Like, all this time he was just taking it, and finally they can have an actual conversation.
Yes, it's like one of my favorite scenes in this whole chapter is their little, you know, him acting dead and her going, no. It's so cute.
And then he tells her that he loves her too. I actually forgot about that, so it was so much fun to relive. Now, it's interesting to see that Sakura noticed that Takashi was attacked by the Dark Force, but he lied to not have Chiharu worry about him.
So sweet.
I like this scene because SNS, they try to weasel their way out of not joining TNC back to the cabin, and there's a line that I really like a lot when Chiharu says, "It's okay. You don't have to explain to me. I know that you are not quite the same as the rest of us."
Yes, and it's kind of like our first little nudge in the direction that her friends know.
Yeah. Like, Sakura is all shocked, but I'm glad that Wish-chan recognizes that her friends are not as dumb and naive as Clamp may or may not make them out to be.
Right, exactly.
SNS are alone again, and Syaoran hilariously reminds her that with the power out, they could use their powers. And it was time to face the Dark Force head on. Now, we get a pretty intense fight scene, and that was when Sakura recognized her kerchief on the werewolf, and that's when she realized that the werewolf was our beloved Wolfie-chan. And that's when I realized that the werewolf was Wolfie-chan back in 2003. Shocked.
Oh, sweet Preya.
Now, Sakura connected the dots, but doesn't matter, she's still in denial. And she had been using defensive cards and refused to use attack cards. And it wasn't until Syaoran had to attack with his Ufueda. And even though Sakura really wanted Syaoran to promise to not hurt the werewolf, he couldn't do it, and he had to attack the force with his sword and defeated it. And it was such a heartbreaking scene because it sounded like he actually killed it.
No, I really think he did.
Yeah.
Like, to me, he, like, stabbed him.
Yeah.
Like, full on stabbed.
Yeah. No, like, Sakura was super upset, but she sealed it, and that's when she found her embroidery in a very sorry state.
Oh, that was that was such a hard scene to act out, like just all the emotion and everything that has to go into it. It was difficult, and as I've said before, I'm such like an animal lover, and so I really did sort of cry a little bit, and arc 3.
Arc 3.
But we won't talk about that.
Oh, we have a long way to go. So that scene where she steps on the embroidery and walks away is really powerful, since we don't get to see Sakura in such a defeated mode.
Right, yeah, that's so true.
But then defeat turns into anger, which is also something we don't see from her that often. And she just kept saying that she wanted to wait until the morning to seal Wolfie-chan as her seal him as Wolfie-chan, and not him as in werewolf mode.
But do you think that would have worked though? Because in order to seal some cards, you have to seal them in their true form, right? Yeah. Like, or you have to call them by their name. Mm-hmm. Or so, do you think it would have worked for her to seal it as Wolfie-chan?
Probably not, because it's called the werewolf, or no, it's called the wolf. It's called the wolf. Mm-hmm. It's not called the dog. It's not called the puppy. It's called the wolf. And at the end of the day, the dog form Wolfie-chan is not the true form. And right. And the thing is, though, she'd probably just put it off because she likes Wolfie-chan's company so much. She doesn't want to see him like locked away in a card.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, it's a tough decision, but I feel like Syaoran made the best decision, because I think he could recognize Sakura wasn't going to be able to do it, and so he did what he felt like needed to be done, you know. And so it's hard, but I kind of agree with Syaoran that number one, I don't think she would have been able to seal it as a puppy, and number two, I feel like he made the right decision just doing it then. I don't know if he necessarily needed to stab him, but I mean, he did what needed to be done.
Yeah, because even Sakura agrees with you, because the next day she recognizes that she was harsh on Syaoran and he did the right thing that she couldn't. Mm-hmm. And then Tomoyo was the one who noticed that Syaoran cared more about Wolfie-chan than he actually let on. Mm-hmm.
Although I don't agree, because I think Tomoyo says something along the lines of Syaoran cared more than anybody else. I don't think that's particularly true, because I feel like Sakura loved Wolfie-chan the most. So I think it should say something like, you know, Syaoran loved the puppy just as much as you, but he just didn't show it, or something. Is how I would maybe rewrite that. Not to rewrite Wish-chan, our ultimate goddess, but that was like the one thing I kind of disagreed with. I was like, I don't know if he loved him the most.
I get where you're coming from. Takashi tells Chiharu that he found the music box but lost it, and she said at this point didn't even care about the contest anymore. And of course we have Sakura sacrificing her own music box and putting it in Takashi's bag. Now, Syaoran calls out to her from a tree, and then he admits that he used all of his magic that night to convert the Dark Forest card into a Light Forest card. I'm so happy.
And I think Sakura, of course we know Sakura loved him before, but I think after he did that, she was like, done deal, I am yours for eternity.
Girl, my notes literally say, which probably should have been the ideal moment for Sakura to tell Syaoran that she loved him. But that's just me. Asterisk and Melanie.
I love you, thank you.
That's great. Mm-hmm. Because when I read that moment, that's like the first thing I thought. Confess your love.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Or, I love that you did that for me. Because I love you.
Exactly.
End scene. Roll credits for Intiver.
But not ROTV. I don't know where Sakura has the energy to find the last music box, but they took a stab at it anyway, with Syaoran considering that it's literally 3 a.m. She summons Wolfie-chan, who's happy to see her, and says that his name should be Eagle, but that doesn't really seem to stick in Arc 3.
No, I was going to ask you that because I don't think he's ever referred to as that again. But, we've been wrong before, so I guess we'll see.
He's, predominantly called Wolfie-chan, and I think there's some kind of, side note where, Sean will call him Eagle, but honestly, Arc 3, he's just Wolfie-chan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's true.
The dog sniffs out the last music box, which is literally on top of the log cabin. So, that expression is right under your nose. Well, it's right over their heads.
And that's such a retriever thing for Wolfie-chan to do, to find what he's scenting and then just sit down, because that's what retrievers will do. So I thought, or scent dogs or scent birds or hunting dogs. So I thought that was cute.
Oh, that's cute. Yeah, our dog sits when he wants something. It's we have 2 cats. Nibbles is our 2-year-old, and he's fearless. He doesn't care about the dog. But Paul is our 9-year-old, and he's a grumpy cat, and he doesn't like the dog at all. But to my dog, he's my dog's favorite toy. So if I'm holding Paul, then Scruffles is going to be sitting down, just waiting. It's I want that. I want that.
That's true. When I was over there, Paul would just hang out in his little cat tower, and Scruffles would just sit and just stare up at the cat tower. So funny.
Okay, we get another sunrise, and this one came with a double rainbow, and those are always fun.
Okay. This is me not being a morning person, but if somebody woke me up just to see a Ding Dang double rainbow, I would be so mad if I was one of those other couples. I would have been like, you go look at that rainbow if you're so excited about it. I've slept on a hardwood floor. I've had cold soup to eat. I'm tired. I'm hungry. But that's just me being a grumpy non-morning person. Whereas Preya would have been the first to spring up and be like, it's so beautiful.
That tracks. That's when the yacht picked up all of the teens. Now, unfortunately, the last 2 lines of the audiobook chapter got cut off, so I'll read them here. The final contest to determine who the best teen couple of Japan was out of 5 couples who had found the golden music box. Did you know that if you find the end of the rainbow, you'll be able to find your greatest treasure? Takashi asked, leaning against the railing of the boat. Really? Chiharu asked. I wonder what my treasure will be, Sakura pondered, staring at the rainbow wistfully. Well, it starts with an S.
Right. Ends with an N.
He's Chinese. He's soon to be great elder. Personally, I do think love is the greatest treasure, and I can't wait for Sakura and Syaoran to properly confess to each other, even though we all know that all the power is in Wish-chan's hands.
Maybe. I like your theory of it being like a sunset. And then maybe not only will it be a sunset, but there'll be a double rainbow. Just
and you'll be up for that one.
I would be up for that. I wouldn't be grumpy about that.
For the Dark Forces corner, Sakura used the shield to protect herself. And she also ends up using the dream to give the werewolf happy dreams as he was withering away, which I completely forgot about. Mm-hmm. Finally, the wolf is captured, and it's the first time that we had a card with 2 faces when it went from ferocious werewolf to puppy.
Mm-hmm.
For this fan art spotlight, today we are highlighting Asume, aka Maria. Her fan art is called Summer because this was in honor of the Fan Art 100 project that I launched back in the late 2000s. So she drew this prompt for the summer prompt. And it's Sakura on the yacht with her hair blowing in the wind with that cute butterfly pin that Wish-chan mentioned in her chapter, so I always love her attention to detail.
She is so good at drawing hair, and yeah, so Sakura looks so pretty.
You know who else drew his picture with Sakura like hair like that?
Oh God, I know what you're gonna say. Oh my goodness. Actually, that's not as bad as I remember it being.
It's very pretty, and it's part of my picture book because her hair is blowing as if she's on a boat.
Mm-hmm. Aww. Oh, that's when I was still Melanie Mackey. Oh, that's actually better than I remember it being. That looks really good, actually, if I do say so myself.
Yay. Now it's time for the author's note.
Okay. So we have Wish-chan. Hee hee. Sorry it took me so long to write this chapter. First of all, I had so many essays to write. Second of all, I rewrote this chapter over again. So, bet you're disappointed that I held who the winner of the contest will be until next chapter. I decided I'll like to nicely expand things out instead of cramming too many things into one chapter. And then the story plot will move along. And she does that to this day, and we love you for it. So, as many people predicted, Wolfie-chan was the wolf card. And he was made from Sakura's embroidery of the wolf for Christmas. How did Eron and Erika get their hands on it? When Tomeo stopped by Syaoran's apartment to pick up clothes and stuff, they saw it and smuggled it.
That's what you were talking about. The thing is, though, Tomoyo had to go to... Can you repeat that? Hold on.
Yeah. When Tomeo stopped by Syaoran's apartment to pick up clothes and stuff, they saw it and smuggled it because they knew Sakura made it for Syaoran and it was very precious. So was I right?
We're missing something here because Tomoyo mentioned that Sakura's door was unlocked, and we're like, oh my god, that's how Aaron got it, because Sakura's door is unlocked. But the embroidery is at Syaoran's place, so it wouldn't be unless when Tomoyo said that she was going to go to Sakura's place, she meant Syaoran's place because that's where she was staying. But how would the twins be there with Tomoyo?
When Tomeo stopped by Syaoran's apartment to pick up clothes and stuff, they saw it and smuggled it. So I guess maybe they were following Tomeo, and then when they saw her go in there, they grabbed it. Then this will be a good. We should ask this on the Q&A. This will be. We will follow up on this.
Poor Wish-chan. This was like, when was this chapter released? 2002.
Right. Yeah, rack your brains, Wish-chan. Okay, all right, and then it's a lawn contest, huh? A pentathlon. I cannot say that for the life of me, guys. I know I probably pronounced it like 6 different ways in the audiobook, and I'm so sorry. Okay, I like the sound of it. That's why I had to rack my brain for 5 contests. Actually, I had more, but I cut them out. Let's see. Ooh, I'd be interested to hear what other ones she had.
I don't think she's going to remember.
I also elaborated on Chiharu and Takeshi. Also, hee. Oh, didn't you just know that the violin piece Nadesco composed will come up again? It's just my personal thought. But though Sakura is portrayed sometimes as dense and slow, I think she is a really intelligent person. What a coincidence. SNS, Chiharu and Takeshi, and Erika and Aki are all finalists. The best couple of Japan will be determined through the last event, the questionnaire. And guess what the first question will be? It is, what does the golden music box symbolize?
I remember. Yeah, I don't remember all the questions, but I do remember that one. Because, like, we're not going to get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it in the next chapter.
I have many thoughts.
You've been listening to New Trials, the podcast, where it must rain for there to be a rainbow.
to New Trials the podcast, please be sure to check out the audiobook version of this fan fiction that you can find anywhere that you can find this podcast. Also, please be sure to check out the Facebook fan page for New Trials, where a big part of our discussions happen nowadays. And be sure to stick around next week for part 1 of chapter 36, For There to Be a Rainbow.
And the 10 couples. Yeah, I wanted to say Yatch.
Sorry.
I wanted to, I'm reading my notes, and it looks like it's a Yatch, but I know it's not.
I'm just picturing them all like canoeing back to the
Oh, they're not canoeing. They're going there in style.
in a yacht.
In a yacht.